Hello friends, we are back with another video by our very own Dr. Urmi Mukherjee, ex-head Department of Biochemistry, Holy Cross College for Women, Bhel Campus, Hyderabad. She will be explaining about sustainability. So watch the video till the end.
Hello everyone. Hope these times are seeing you in the best of spirits and you are at home and safe but alive and cooking. So in this context, the present context always is taking our minds to sustainability. Are we able to sustain ourselves and how it has happened? If we think of the Jain aphorism, which was put forth in the Tattvavarta Sutra, and it is a 2000-year-old scripture. There it is said, Parasparo Pagraho Jivanam. All life is bound together by mutual support and interdependence. It has come from that long, but we don't want to remember. The United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, we are all aware, talks about sustainable lifestyle as one with a holistic approach that is embedded throughout an entire ecosystem. And it says, creating sustainable lifestyles means rethinking our ways of living, how we buy and what we consume. But it is not only that. It also means rethinking how we organize our daily life and altering the way we socialize, exchange, share, educate, and build identities. It is about transforming our societies towards more equity and living in balance with our natural environment. Around us in our everyday life, we would see we don't want to part with certain things and we want to say that I want this, and we keep things for ourselves for years and years and for generations. But then at the end, you will always find that we are hoarding. We don't need as much. And so when each one of us hoard, it is the greed than the need. And nature, you know that famous saying by Gandhiji, nature has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. So that is what I'm talking about. So, but our mind, it is our mind which takes us to hoarding. We feel nothing is enough, and so we don't want to share, and we would like to pile up on things more than we need. Not only is this supported within the Indian culture, religion and tradition, but also to the Indian lifestyle. There are numerous ways, we all do it every day, in which Indian households and cultures translate the tradition and mindset of reduced waste management and sustainable values into a lifestyle and culture. Simple yet sustainable values are taught at a young age, whether it is conservation of resources, such as switching off lights when not in use, or even electronic devices. We now have got into that use, sleep mode, chalega. But you know, then also we are using electricity. When we have lot of storm, thunder and damage, and when we don't have enough power, we know what happens. We try to put everything in proper use. We don't switch on things unnecessarily. We don't put the devices on and keep it to sleep for further use after 1 or 2 hours. We then try to close and minimize. So that is what it is, sustainable living. When our resources are limited And that is what nature has. The resources of the nature as limited, whether we accept or not. We can see, we cannot sustain. So this limited resource requires us to live in a proper way. The lifestyle has to be corrected. And then we also know how we creatively use our leftover food, and also the reuse of handkerchief, our napkins, and how the mopping clothes are used. Everywhere things were not the same. We had got into the use of use and throw. So it does not work. Now we are coming to that. It does not work. We have to know how to reuse, recycle, and then share too. So that is what we are talking. It had been in the Indian culture, in our everyday lives. Water, is viewed and treated as an important and valuable resource. Rainwater has been harvested for centuries in India due to the importance as well as the scarcity of the water system. If you go to places like Rajasthan, we all go on tours, you would find Udaipur is a city of lakes, and they are not natural lakes. The Maharajas there had made them, dug them to keep the city cool, and how they would sustain the water usage. And if you go to the Mehrangarh fort and many other forts there, you will see there is a pulley system with which they would pull water, which was very close to the palaces there, and this water was pulled, and that same water was used to cool also. Even if you go to Gujarat, places like Rajkot, if you go to the old dwelling places there, you would find inside the rooms there were canals, small drain system sort of thing, where water would flow and keep the house cool. So water was not only used for drinking, it was used for cooling as well. So these are the two states in India which have scarcity of water for eons. But at the same time, we have also seen Ganganagar, which had been a desert, but now people have turned it into a green town. I'll talk about this in a later session. Let us move on. Almost every city in India has a nook or cranny or a street side or an underbridge where old books are sold. Do you not think this is about recycling? We have libraries which recycle, and those of us who are at this age have gathered lots of books over the years, and we are into the habit of forming a common library where we pool in all the books and we ask people. But the only problem with books nowadays is youngsters don't like to read books. But with the magnetic system of the earth moving differently, don't we think that in the near future maybe we'll not have this kind of support from technology where we read everything online, and then perhaps we will have to come back to reading in print books, newspapers, which we have forgotten of late. So books, recycling books, and then we have seen how newspapers are used. We make packets out of newspaper, we wrap things, we use newspaper to wipe glass clean. So there are various uses. If we want to dry something, we spread a newspaper and put it on it. Of course, now many of us don't subscribe to newspapers, so that is how it is. Now coming to the religions, you will also find that the UN environment in 2019 has talked about environmental conservation and protection by Indian religions. The ancient scriptural text, Isho Upanishad, says, Tena tyaktena bhunjita ma gradha kasya vidhanam. Isho Upanishad is a part of Shukla Yajurved, and the meaning of this particular mantra, the first mantra in Isho Upanishad, tells that the Isa inhabits or dwells in everything here, whichever born or moving in the world. This Isha enjoys by giving up and not coveting someone else's property. Isa here talks about God or any energy form that we believe in. Whosoever doesn't believe in God knows that there is some energy it's a network of energy in the universe which controls everything. So the Islamic concept of environmental stewardship, which stipulates humans as stewards, Khalifa, of the land and its resources, prohibits wastefulness. The holistic view of Islam, which is founded on the notion of harmony, a natural state, which they call fitra, and is respecting balance and proportion. In the Islamic language, the Arabic and the Persian language that they use, they talk balance as mizan and proportion as miqdar in the systems of the universe. These notions provide an ethical dimension and a mandate for all humans to respect nature and all forms of life. This also has been told by the UN Environment 2018. Other than that, we are aware of the Bishnois, the Sumerian civilization, the Polynesian culture. I'll talk about it a bit later in the next episode. Although the trends are shifting now, the rishis of the past have always had a great respect for nature. Theirs was not a superstitious primitive theology. They perceived that all material manifestations are a shadow of the scriptural. The Bhagavad Gita advises us not to try to change the environment, improve it, or wrestle with it. If it seems hostile at times, tolerate it, which we are doing now. The times are so hostile, but we have to tolerate. There's no other way. We are trying to find out, but are we still able to? Maybe with time we will know how to. Jainism, I started with that particular word. Jainism has 3 tenets. They talk about ahimsa or non-violence, which we are very clear of. But when we talk about non-violence, it doesn't mean just not harming others. It also means compassion, minimize injury to all forces of life. And here you will find they not only talk about living things, Jainism also talks about air, water, earth. And they talk about non-possessiveness, self-restraint, and reduce, reuse, and share. That is the first tenet. See how this particular religion has been designed. And the second tenet is parigraha. Seve atai karanti prananam behanam. Mahavira also talks about this. Our greed and possessiveness are the primary cause of all violence as well as imbalance in the environment. So parigraha, give. So we have to know how things have to be. And the third one is anikantvad, pluralism. We know that everything is a balance. So the balance in nature is maintained by pluralism. So where we have joy, we have sorrow. Where we have friendship, we have conflict. So that is what they are talking about in pluralism, anikantvad. So we have to accept many things and go by the ways of nature. When we come to Christianity, there also the Old Testament talks of being good stewards of earth. And the New Testament tells us to feed the hungry, to give water to thirsty, to care for poor, and to treat the marginalized with respect, which we are used to, we do it. But do you understand now how our forefathers have been leading a certain kind of life, and that is why here we are living this. But of late we have not been doing that, and so you can see what imbalance has created. And the latest one, the locusts that are coming up from Pakistan, in Maharashtra, the infestation. And if this goes on, not only will we have famine, we won't have enough food because the locusts would eat them up. It is an attack. The farmers would also die because of that attack, not because of starvation, but because of the locust attack. In Christianity, Psalm 24, in the Bible, Psalm 24, part 1, they say, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So that is what we have to remember. In whichever form, whether we believe in God or not, there is a certain energy. And when somewhere the balance is not maintained, we have to suffer. That is about sustainability. See you next time in the next episode, where we would talk about Brundtland Commission, Malthus theory, and how sustainability is required. The world has to. There is no other way. We have to go on with sustainability. Thank you, all of you. Please give your feedbacks so that I can help you learn better. I enjoyed. See you next.
If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Comment below for further video recommendations. Thank you.